Joining us today is Darren Hazelwood, the CEO of Panther Metals, and Kerem Usenmez, the recently appointed advisor to Panther. Well, thank you both for joining us. Darren, first of all, how are you? How are things?
Yeah, no, very well, Mark. I've just got back from Canada. I had a very, very successful visit, and really pleased where everything is at.
Good, excellent. And Kerem, it's good to be speaking to you of your new appointed role. All good with you over in Canada?
Yes, no, this is absolutely exciting project, exciting team, and excited to be involved in that back again.
Excellent. Good. Well, we do want to talk to you in a moment about your vast experience on this project. But Darren, just first of all, you are just back from the site. I know we saw the pictures going out on social media of you unlocking the gate there. So just remind us what this project's all about. Last time we spoke about it, you said it was a game changer. It's a mid-tier project. The tailings is the immediate focus. So just bring us up to speed. Remind us what it's all about and what you're working on in the next few months.
Yeah, look, I went over to the project on my own and worked with a geologist from Bayside Geoscience, Steve. He actually owns a company. They've got around 140 geologists. But Steve was so excited by the potential of Winston, it's well known in Canada, that he wanted to come out personally. It was actually his first day on site of the year. So that maybe gives you an indication of the significance and how well known the project is. I wanted to go out, have a look at the project, get my boots on the ground, and that's as we look to now accelerate our work there, just understand the logistics and just get a feel for it. And it just enables me to grasp everything that's going to be needed, requirements. And yeah, we conducted an initial sampling program on the tailings. As we've already said, I believe, and the company believes, when you go through the 2021 feasibility study, that the tailings has the potential to nearly double the resource on that site. Now, bearing in mind, we're already dealing with some really significant numbers. EBITDA is 67 million CAD per year and have an 8.5 year mine life. And you've got a MPV at a 6% discount of $216 million. And that's without any of the additional exploration upside, which we did manage to take some rock chip samples last week. And we're excited to get those results back. But the focus will be on the tailings. The tailings are at surface. No one's ever considered the tailings. We know that the gold, for instance, out of the zinc, which was the main commodity, had a recovery of 20% in year one, and that dropped down to recovery of 16% in year three. And that would give an indication that this tailings pond has the potential to contain really considerable amounts of gold. There'd also hopefully there would be silver. But this was at a different time. People have asked me why wasn't that gold processed? Well, gold at the time was $300 an ounce. Zinc was the dominant commodity by far. So the processing would have been geared towards a zinc recovery because the gold wouldn't have had a particularly big impact on the financials on the site. Gold now being, $3,400, it would have a massive impact on the financials. And our aim is to leverage off of that with this, Mark.
Good. Well, just quickly, Darren, if I can, of course, the tailings is the focus, as you say. You've had that, you're working with Fulcrum, aren't you now, with their technology, with extract there, which I think is in phase 3 of 4. So they're nearing the end of that sort of testing and optimization.
We're looking for a tie-up with Fulcrum. At this point, what we're doing is independent because we need to understand what's in the tailings first.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I want to. Yeah, exactly. So just quickly, what are you doing on that front to see what's there?
That's literally what it is. Look, we took 14 samples from the tailings. We did have plans to take more. But in the end, the consistency of the tailings was such, and they are absolutely packed full of sulfides, right? And as you bring the tailings up out the water, you can smell them from a distance.
You can smell the gold.
Hopefully. And so because of the consistency of the tailings, we decided that we took 14 samples. We took a line of 12 right the way through the tailings pond until we got to a depth about 50 yards short of the actual tailings dam itself. and we took two other samples just nearer the banks. All of them were consistent, so we were happy with that program, and that actually provided us time to then go and visit the Pick deposit and actually take some really interesting samples at the Pick deposit. Steve was really impressed with what was going on the ground at the Pick deposit, and I think that's probably a good moment to hand over to Kerem to talk about the project while he's here, because we've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes now, and certainly the conversations I've had with Kerem, it was very positive on the project. So I'll hand over.
Okay. Well, Kerem, let's get a sense of what your experience is on the project. So you were previously CEO of Metallum Resources, and the company held this project at that time. So just give us a bit of the background as to how long you've been involved with the Winston Project.
Yeah, absolutely. When we acquired it, we did the updated feasibility study at the time, and we were looking at the potential. Not only, look, this is the highest grade zinc project in North America, maybe one of the highest in the world, with copper, and still copper is high grade too. Like Darren mentioned, gold and silver credits to it. It's really good. One thing I was impressed, well, two things predominantly that I was impressed with Panther's progress was they got a very good deal. Look, how can you acquire a project that cheap with that much work that's already been done? And there is, apart from that, it's a development project. There's all the infrastructure. The location is amazing. It's critical minerals for Canada. So there's a lot of positives. But what Darren and his team are doing that's really smart at this stage is looking at the tailings. Because of the cutoff grade, when it was mined, there's a lot of value in that, low-hanging fruit, while doing other work. And what we identified at the time was, apart from the development and the sitting resource there, that's high grade, with really all the infrastructure being there, underground included, there is really brownfield targets around this deposit. It's a VMS. There's more horizons that we identified that was never drilled, believe it or not. It's crazy. So a lot of low-hanging fruit. I really like what Panther's doing and their objectives. Obviously, Darren is very involved in Ontario. So that's really exciting. Like I'll try to help as much as I can based on my experiences, my connections, and we built really good connections with the communities as well, including the town of Scriber as well, with the mayor and everybody else. So yeah, I'll try to help as much as I can.
Well, it's interesting that you sort of asked that question. How were Panther able to get such a good deal? I understand that Metallum's market cap when you had this project was over 50 million Canadian. You then moved that project on to another company. I don't know the sort of terms or the reasons why that. But I mean, if I was to ask you the question, why or how do you think Panther got this for such a good deal? I mean, why? How is that possible if there's such a huge, value in that project?
It is being opportunistic. That's how I see it. Look, we're in cyclical business. First movers, fast movers, and the opportunistic people get ahead. And things obviously, up and down. But what we know is zinc in the long run, it's critical mineral, like I mentioned. It's very, very valuable, and it's one of the critical minerals. Of course, this is a zinc project, but there's copper, gold, and silver. And if you can get it cheaply out into the ground, from the tailings into, cash flow, what better way?
Exactly. Well, you're definitely right. It's definitely a very cyclical market. We all know that in this space, and opportunistic and timing is everything. If you were to cast your mind back to perhaps better times, let's say, in the space when perhaps Metallum held this project, what was the interest like around that time in terms of attracting financing for like this project, for example?
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, we had gotten it at a good time. And when we started to advance it into that development stage, we were lining things up for dewatering, and we were going into the construction phase. And I've had multiple offers for financing alternative financing, not only debt or equity, but some offtake as well, agreements. But then the things have changed. Obviously, it was a different structure, and the company that took over, had other intentions. So that was the challenging part, not the financing this project, because it is very attractive, because it has all the infrastructure, because of its location and the local support. But really, like I said, what Panther and Darren are seeing in the short-term value is unlocking what's already out, what's already processed in the tailings.
Yeah. So that's really the gold, of course, isn't it? But is it the zinc that makes this project, in your opinion, with the gold, silver, and copper being almost nice buy commodities to have?
Absolutely. Like I said, this is the highest grade zinc project in North America. Okay. So, and right off the main highway, you can bicycle to this project. It's that easy to get to.
Okay, excellent. Well, hopefully, you'll be providing that wealth of knowledge to Darren and the team there. Of course, you're situated over in Ontario as well, I believe, and you have positions with listed companies, so you can always be the man on the ground as well as that advisor with that vast knowledge, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm involved in multiple projects in Ontario. I have been for the last numerous years, and I live in Ontario as well. So
excellent, good. Well, thank you. It's good to get a little bit of an insight. This sounds like a project with a lot of history, so I'm sure we can do it. I would love to do a special feature, perhaps with yourself, Kerem. Maybe Darren can join as well. We look at this project in a lot more detail to get a more understanding of really the value that's there, and also looking at the low-hanging fruit, the gold there. Darren, just finally, you've got Kerem on board now with Panther. I hope you'll utilise him well. What's your plans?
I'm really, really excited that Kerem's come on board. As he's just alluded to, the value there is already known, but the upside is not. And I think that's what really excites all of us, because people think that it's got a discovery, it's got a deposit. That's where the project's at, and it now potentially has it's got a tailings pond, but that potentially has a revenue generating aspect to it. But that's far from it. This project is still vastly underexplored. And just going back to, you mentioned about the deal to take the project. Why did we get it where we did? You've got to remember that I took a call in a lot different market. December of 24, the market had been in a 3-year bear phase, and I picked up the phone at that time because I felt I could see the market changing in the coming months. And I have to give credit to the people that I dealt with, that they stayed true to what we talked about, and that they certainly showed that they are people of integrity. And we was able to close the deal at the level of a deal that I'd agreed in a market that was considerably less receptive to deals than they were at the date the deal was closed. So, as Kerem mentioned, it was opportunistic, but I was also dealing with people that stuck to their word. So that's to the benefit of everyone.
Okay. Well, Darren Hazelwood and Kerem Usenmez, thank you very much for joining us today to talk about Panther Metals and the Winston Project.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.